Hello, hello. Hello there, Oak Knob Farms. Dave. Uh, One moment, let me set this. I'm going to mute my mic for 1 second. Yep, sorry. So, bear with me a little bit. My sinuses decided to flare up on me, so I'm going to be a little sneezy, a little blow my nose a whole lot here, but I'll get through it. I've been this way the majority of my life. What was I going to start here with? So, I've had an interesting week. It's wintry. It's okay. Yeah, we got about 4 or 5 inches today of snow, and then we got some freezing rain, and now it's 40 degrees outside. So so the freezing rain turned to normal rain, and everything's just melting. It's amazing how all that works. Yeah. We're getting a few inches tonight also, yeah. Listen from the workshop there, Sam. Yeah, well, welcome. It's been an interesting week. As you guys know, or content creators know, my Monday was fantastic. I actually did something this weekend. I've added to my to-do list, which is behind the camera. I'm going to try to turn this without freaking out the computer too much here. Let's go. Twist it around the tripod. Oh, there, I was catching. There. Oh, well, can you see that? No, it's okay. But I added little red stars next to things that are started. So current projects that I actually have started are my coat rack. That is started. That's somewhere in production. The picture frames, the TV risers. I don't have the pieces down here, but I have my drawer. I had to rebuild a dresser drawer from a dresser that my neighbor was throwing out in the trash. The top drawer was kind of busted, but the front face of the drawer was okay. So I can just take the front face off, rebuild the drawer itself, just reattach the hardware to the new drawer that I have, and put the face back on. You're never going to know. And then I have my WWOS sign, which is my woodworking on Steam signs that I made, that I will show here in a little bit. So let's make sure it gets back over here. All right, and let's hope that doesn't fall over. But yeah, for laptop desk thingy, cutting a board for laptop desk thingy. Oh, you wanted to make a laptop holder, I think you were talking about before. But so I need to set up the scene here. So bear with me for a second. But I want to show you. New laptop, bigger shelf. Yeah. I need a. I have shelves that are like under this here that I want to set this down under here, and I want to wire everything out the back of the shelf, and I want to get like a monitor, one of those bars that you mount a monitor to with the arms, the swing arms. I want to mount it to the back and then have the monitor. It should be approximately here, and I can have wireless mouse and keyboard to control everything. That's kind of what I want to do with this area down here, because the idea is eventually I want to get a CNC. I want to have it in this corner, so ideally it would go here. Yeah, I got some stuff too. I'm going to go over some stuff that I got this week. Just bear with me here a little bit as my sinuses have my brain scattered on many things. But the first thing I want to show you, I have to set up a scene in OBS that I didn't have time to set up before starting, so yeah. Yeah, it'd be really nice if I could get that set up, Dave, if I get that, let's add screen window capture, sure, add new source. I'm sorry for what you're seeing currently. I'm trying to fix. Oh, that's not what I want at all. Why are we... What is it doing? I'm going to turn that off. I don't know what that was. Yeah, that's an interesting one. No, I want it to... Oh. That's why. Let's close. That's I added the wrong thing. I did window capture instead of screen capture. Yes, I want to remove window capture, and I need to do display capture is what I want. I want it to capture my whole display. Add new source. There we go, and then you guys get the infinite time, the infinity thing here. Boom. Okay. Bear with me because I don't have two monitors to do everything here. So I just want to show some pictures. So for those who don't know, I did post in Content Creators. My girlfriend, she was in an accident on Monday. So, and we got the rental today. Now, for those who also don't know, a few weeks ago, or I guess it was close to the beginning of the year. No, it was right after Christmas. I smacked a deer in my car, and I had a rental. One moment. Oh, that's the wrong. But I had a deer at the end of the year, end of last year, beginning of this year, and I got a rental. So I want to open up the picture. Open up the pictures. And I want to pull up some pictures too here from accidents. I want that one. And I want to go to, give me a moment. I'm not seeing chat if you guys are saying anything. I'm at my file explorer here, like a little all my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful photos, because just show damages. And that picture is keep loading. It might load. I thought I got all the pictures I wanted to show you guys before the stream started. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. I have too many icons. It looks very similar. Yeah, the car is pretty rough. It's mostly cosmetic for her end, and it was mostly cosmetic on my end too, by the looks of how her car was and how my car was. Man, I'm just not having any luck here. If it wants to load, I'm trying to get to load the little preview picture. That's all the way back there. There's a big gap, and like I have the pictures at the beginning of the list and at the end of the list, but I don't have the pictures in the middle, so I can't see the picture from my accident. I just want to show. Turn that back on, right? Okay. Anyway, we'll start. So there's that picture. Do I have a slideshow? I do. Okay, I don't need that. So, and we're going to go, if I open up the right thing here, we're going to go turn my display capture on real quick. You guys can see that. This was her car. This is her car. She was doing a U-turn, didn't see a person, and smacked him. So that's her car, and that's the rental she got. 2019 Nissan Frontier. So I can't show my car. It's not letting me see the image I want to see. But, and here's what I got whenever I smacked my deer. It just kind of bent in my hood a little bit. And cracked my grill. I got a 2019 Toyota Tacoma, which I missed dearly. It was such a beautiful truck. So yeah, that's we both managed to get brand new trucks out of accidents. So I'm still unsure if insurance is going to fix her car. I don't think we've heard back on that yet. They were supposed to have the car towed from the place they towed it to the shop she wants it at and all the work done at. They're supposed to do that today. I don't know if they ever got to that. And then at that point, they were going to do the estimate, I believe. I believe that's how that was going to go. But it mostly just appears to be the bumper. The bumper is just shattered. I think that had to do with the cold temperatures being below freezing, making the plastic a little more brittle, so it just, on impact, broke apart. But yeah, that's how I started my week on Monday. It was quite the joy. If you don't know the setup of Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh is a mess to drive in. So she originally told me she was going to have it towed over by my work, which is where our normal mechanic is and everything. But the tow company told her that if they tow it there, she has to pay the tow fee up front. And she said, nah, insurance is going to cover that. So she had let them tow it. She went with the tow guy, too, to have it taken to the place where they towed the car. One moment. Every time I feel like I got to sneeze, I mute the mic, and I don't end up sneezing. But they towed the car there, which is on the opposite side of Pittsburgh. Sneeze that time. But that's on the opposite side of Pittsburgh. So my original 10-minute drive to pick her up turned into in total from to and from an hour. So I had to drive about hour and a half to go pick her up at the shop, and then drive back to my work so I can go back to work because this happened in the middle of the workday. So yeah, that was a fun way for my Monday. Wish others would do that. I've lived with severe allergies since I was 7, and so I'm just kind of used to the having a quick mute button, but I don't have it set up on this computer yet. Normally, I set up my computer so that if I hit Alt M, it mutes my mic. So if I'm live streaming a video game, I'm recording something, I just immediately mute it. And my problem always is, did I unmute it? And it makes me freak out. all the time. But this is actually the first time my allergies have been acting up in a while. I don't know what caused it. I was fine all day, and then it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock. They just flared up, and I've been miserable since. I've taken 2 Advil colon sinus. I took Flonase. I've taken Zyrtec. So I think I'm capped out on medicine. I know I took the Advil colon sinuses too close together, but I was trying to dry everything up before the live stream, so I took a second one, and it doesn't seem to be helping too much. I mean, it's helping a little bit, because if you saw me earlier, it was really bad. Oh, no, don't scroll, please. Yeah, we're going to take a look at this pile of tissues by the end of this, I swear. But that's how I started my week, with that lovely Monday journey. And we now have another truck that is not going to probably get used or utilized very much, other than for her to drive around while her car's getting fixed. Unfortunately, I don't have anything that I need to haul anywhere, and I'm not buying any new material while we have the truck that I know of. If I would have had it this past weekend, I would have had her run me to the shop, because I have some 4 foot by 5.5 foot sheets of MDF, 1/4 inch MDF, that I want to have cut for something, and I can't remember what it is now. I was going to have it cut for the bottom of the drawer that I'm building. That's what I wanted to do with it. But I can't fit it in my car. I had a guy that has a truck and worked at the shop when I worked there. I had him put it in his truck and deliver it to me. So I don't have access to doing that now. So I'm just stuck with these 4 foot by 5.5 foot 1/4 inch MDF sheets that I have to chop up with my handsaw, I guess, before crashing again, so you can schedule your hauls. Yeah, I know, right? It's I don't know how it works out that both of the times that we've wrecked our cars now, we've gotten brand new trucks. Like, it'd be nice to actually be able to do something when you have the truck, like haul some lumber, take some stuff to get cut down at the shop on the CNC or on the beam saw they have down there. Unfortunately, at the shop, I don't know how to operate the beam saw, so I generally just throw everything on the CNC and cut it on the CNC real quick. Which I'm really thankful for these monitor risers and these signs they made, because if I had to cut everything by hand here, because I used plywood that I had over behind me here to make them, I would not have been able to do that by hand here. Because what I originally wanted to do was, as I asked if it would be okay for me to grab a sheet of plywood. One moment. I asked if it was okay for me to grab a sheet of plywood while I was there, and they didn't seem to care, because they have enough 1/2 inch plywood sort of on backup, and it's just a general purpose material that it's not job specific. So if I wanted to grab a sheet, I could have grabbed a sheet. But the issue was that they parked a forklift in front of the drywall, and I don't know how to operate a forklift. So I don't know how to move the forklift out the way, or not the drywall, the plywood. So I couldn't get a sheet of plywood to the machine. But I did, just in case, take my plywood that were cutoffs. They were like 4 foot by 2 foot cutoffs. So yeah, I cut that up. And if I had to cut what I cut here using a saw, I would have never been able to fit all the pieces, just because of having to do straight cuts the whole way through the piece. Yeah, Dave, I don't know how to, and they're very strict about being certified when operating forklift. I mean, they don't really care if you're just moving it out the way. If you know how to move it out the way, they're not going to get pissy with you, but I don't know how to operate it at all. So it's just one of those things. It's like the beam saw. I don't know how to operate it at all, so I just don't touch it. I know how to work the CNC machine, so I use that all the time. It's a nice CNC machine. And you guys, I did film everything because that morning I went out and I bought a brand new 128 gigabyte micro SD card for my phone because I'm sick and tired of it. Every time I want to film something, I am running out of space. I have to go back, delete stuff. I have to try and figure out something to minimize the space on there. So I just went out, I bought 128 gig before I had a 16 gig, so I'll be good for a while. I can fill that up and fill that up and fill that up, and I'll be fine. As long as I take the videos off every now and then, I'm not going to run out of space anytime soon. But so for once I get it edited, I do have some CNC content of me cutting out all of the pieces for my TV risers for my coworker. They're all right next to me here. Here, I'll just get the pile of tissues out the way. That's a bucket that works for a trash can. Move the tripod here. But I have all the pieces right there. I have pieces for 2 TV risers, and then I made 2 signs. Let me try and not trip. I made these 2. Ooh, I don't like that. If you don't see that, there's a... yeah, you're not going to see it. There's a small piece of aluminum that was like embedded in it. So, there's that. I made those. I'm going to show those here in a second. Sorry. But, so I gave my shout out for this Discord that I run last week, but I made these. I made 2 of these. Oh, gosh. So, another thing here. I have this nice little light. It's an LED light. You can't really see it. Yeah, you can kind of see that. Nice LED light, and it's made to just plug into your phone jack just as a place to hold it, so it holds nicely. But with the way my phone's set up, and I'm filming everything, it is impossible for me to plug this in right now. But it should hopefully provide enough light that you can hopefully see the... let me move this out here. You can hopefully see the engraving here, because nothing's painted. Now this one, it's unfortunate there is like a split in the veneer the whole way across. I didn't see that whenever I started cutting it, so I'm not sure what happened with it. But I did cut 2 of them, so I got one good one. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to put rabbits on the back. Or not rabbits, keyholes on the back. I'm going to do probably 2. I was making one of these for a member who is doing some work for me. And I was going to mail it to him, but I want to see how that one with the split in the veneer turns out. If it turns out okay, I'm going to... Hold on. Move that back somewhat normal. Somewhat normal. That's a little better. If it turns out okay, I'll mail him the good one. But I kind of want to have that. I want to hang that up around the bench here somewhere. Maybe on the cabinet that I can't reach because I made this workbench too wide. Oops. I might hang it up back there. We'll see. But I wanted to originally make those on 1/2-inch plywood, but didn't have any half-inch cutoffs at the shop laying around. They had a bunch of 3/4 cutoffs that I could have taken, but I just took one to make those 2 signs. So hopefully if they turn out all right and you guys want some, let me know. I can make them up for anyone in content creators. If you want to hang that up and have a little bit of advertisement for woodworking on Steam, I will gladly send you one. I just gotta see how these ones turn out first. So, gotta make those. Those are started. I got my picture frames in this pile of lumber behind me. I don't know why I put them at the bottom, but they're there. But right now the monitor risers or the TV risers are the highest priority. I have everything labeled here because I have my coworker. It's his name's Taylor and his brother. So I have everything marked T and TB because I can't remember his brother's name. So actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I can't remember it. But yeah, that is what it is. So how I'm going to do this project, I'm going to release that CNC video before I even touch that, because a CNC video is going to be easy. It's just a day of me at the shop. I don't have it edited yet, but that should be quick edit. Let's just throw all the clips together, speed everything up to 100 times speed, because CNC is like, it'll take 15 minutes to cut up one of the quarter sheets. And actually those signs, I was expecting those to take a while. Those two signs took about 15, 16 minutes on the CNC, so not bad. I'm happy with them. I'm happy how they turned out on that plywood initially. But some other things that I got this week that I'm excited, especially with working with those signs that I made. I got some of these brushes for my my Dremel. I got 20 in steel and I got 40 in nylon. And what I do with these is I put them in the Dremel and I use them to clean out the engraving lines on my signs. That's the word. So those came in perfect timing for me making those signs. I was very happy because those engraving lines, they get filled up with all the little fiber from the plywood, and it's a pain whenever you're painting it, because how you guys will see the video, but how I normally do them is I spray the whole sign black, sand off excess paint, and that black paint will fill in all the engraved lines. So I got to get all that fibery bits out. So that's going to be fun. Also new this week, I have something behind me. Will you build or buy a CNC? I want to buy a CNC. I do. I want to buy it and put it together. I want the CNC I want to get. It is the Shapeoko 3 by Carbide 3D. It is a very nice machine. I can actually pull it up because I have it. Actually, no, I don't have it bookmarked on this computer. But 3 XXX, the XXL. Go away. Yeah. So, and we're going to go back to the screen share here real quick so I can show you. I apologize for that, but I've already done this. So this here's the CNC I want. It is the Shapeoko 3 XXXL, or the double XL. One moment. It's just a bit out of my price range right now, though. I had a plan to buy this. With shipping, it cost $2,000, give or take. And that's kind of also why I bought this. Or not bought this laptop. I got this laptop from work to hopefully eventually get one of these and I can use this as the controller and do all my programming for it down here on this laptop. So that is what I want. Its footprint is approximately 4 foot. It's a little under 4 foot by 4 foot, but the cutting area is 33 by 33. And you have two options. You can get it with a Makita router or a DeWalt router. I personally would want the Makita router because of the Makita router. It is, one, a little more quiet, and I have neighbors that live very close by. A moment. Nope, wrong thing. Sorry. Okay, I was worried I didn't turn my mic back on. But it's more quiet. So then I have neighbors nearby, so I don't want to bother them whenever I'm running this. And then also, it has lower and higher RPMs than the DeWalt router. And I can also probably get just the base model and save like $100 whatever dollars. Because I know someone that can probably get me the router for about $70, which is about half the price they're selling it for. I will just have to pick up a $15 spacer because these are originally designed to hold the DeWalt, but they make an aluminum spacer that can be inserted in to fit the Makita. But that's what I want. So let's put that back off. Mute that real quick. Yeah, the bed size, I went over that. Yeah, it's not bad. The cheap router, it's a good score. But if you ever see me wear my Myers fasteners shirt, I love it. It's like one of the most comfortable shirts I own. But they work with my company and sell a lot of Makita tools to them. They're actually where I got my... where I got my saw here from. My good old Sawzall. I got that from them. They donated it to our shop picnic, and I won it at the shop picnic, so that came from them. But I can normally, they'll whenever they're running a deal, I can text our distributor. I can say, hey, let me know when you're running a deal, and I can probably get the router that they sell for like $140. I can get it for $70. I discussed that with her before because I was looking at a finance plan for the CNC that didn't work out. Because how I wanted to fund that is I wanted to fund that with my Christmas bonus and my tax return. And my Christmas bonus and tax return would have added up to a little bit over what it cost to get it. But my Christmas bonus went towards bills that we were apparently behind on and getting a car fixed, and my tax return is going to be getting new tires for my car, and then after that I don't know. So what I might look into is getting a real small CNC just for doing like engraving signs, and then I can cut sign blanks and engrave it at home for small signs. But that would cost me around $300, and I have to learn a little bit more with programming for it. XY table for my drill press. Nothing quite as fancy as your CNC yet. I need tires 2 and an alignment. Your CNC might be cheaper. That's yes. But it's also the hassle of trying to find a used CNC. Not a lot of people are selling their CNC, or if they are, it's generally bigger CNCs than what I'm looking for. When you get into the smaller hobbyist stuff like that, the Shapeoko, that's still considered a hobbyist CNC. I have trouble finding people getting rid of those. If they are, they pop on and pop off the one CNC site I'm on immediately, because I don't see them. Or if I do see them, they're on the opposite side of the country, and I have to figure out the shipping hassle of that as well. And when it comes down to it, it's just easier to find a new CNC. But I wouldn't be opposed to getting, like I said, a small mini CNC that's $300. The one I'm looking at it's a little under 300, and it does a 7x12 cutting area. So I can make a bunch of sign blanks. Even at the shop on the CNC, I can make a bunch of sign blanks. And then I can throw them on my CNC here, because the CNC at the shop is great for making blanks like that. It can cut those out real quick, no problem. What always takes the most time is engraving and doing all the little detail work with everything. Like those signs I made over there, the woodworking on steam signs, they took less than 2 minutes to cut out. But all the detail work was doing all the engraving. Wasn't sure if used industrial was cheaper than new high-end. Like I said, yeah, it is cheaper. It's just hard to find. And I really do want to get something. What else is new this week? Oh, Valentine's Day was this past week as well. What was that? That was after my live stream. But my girlfriend got me a new toy that I was talking about last week, which I found funny. It's currently behind me, so I have to get up, of course. In a moment. Tripod was on the mic wire. But she got me a brand new shop vac. So it's a twice the size of my old shop vac. It is 8 gallons, 6 horsepower. It's nice big wheels, bigger hose. My old one's still over here. I'm not going to get rid of it, I don't think. Although I am debating the little yellow handle right there. Although I am kind of debating on it because my mom, she doesn't have a shop vac anymore because she spilt gas in her brand new car that she got a few years ago, and she used the shop vac to try and vacuum up the spilt gas, and it just ruined the shop vac. So I'm thinking about being nice and giving that one to her, or buying her a new one for Black Friday. Because she hasn't had a shop vac. She doesn't use it often, but she does use it to clean out her car every now and then. So it'd be nice for her. Okay. Yeah, I got to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out how to best set up the live stream, because I have 2 tripods. I have the tripod I'm using now, which is a nice, very nice tripod with all kinds of little fancy attachments, or not attachments, adjustment settings. And I have this little thing, and this is what I have been using for my my live streams, and I've been setting it right on the bench. But it has a tendency of the weight of my phone, and it just goes and falls over. So I moved to the big one, and so now I have to, instead of my camera being right in front of me and my chat being just to the side, I have to look over here now. But minor thing. So, do you have multiple cameras, OBS between the 2 cameras? Yeah, I could use my webcam that's built into the laptop, but it's not exactly pretty. It works. There's that. Side view, front view. I could do it. I want to... Something I want to try for latency with this is... Are you using camera tripod. I'm using the camera on my tripod. Yes. What I have is, I'll pull my thing off. I can't really show the mount that's for this, but I have my tripod just kind of set up over here. It's my big tall one that I use for everything else. There we go. But I have that set up on there, and it just uses the standard camera tripod mount for the top, and then I have a phone holder holding my phone. But what was I going to say? I want to look into getting an actual webcam for down here. All the way down. You can use it on your desk more. The thing is, it's still too tall. It's almost 2 or 3 times taller, even that in that way, than the other tripod I have. So it's like sitting probably right about here, which is like way up. So I feel like I have to look up at the camera all the time instead of where my old one was. It was kind of more level, and it was about where my webcam would normally be. But it is a doable thing, and it just takes up an enormous amount of space. I need to look into a better small tripod, something that's not going to fall over from the weight of my phone. This year I got a little kit from Walmart. It has some lenses. It had a phone holder. Oh, hey there, Jim. Had a phone holder, which is the main reason I bought it. Has this nice little LED. Has a remote, a little Bluetooth remote I can use to take photos. Like I said, lenses. But it was like $20 at Walmart, and I needed I wanted the phone holder, so that is what that is. But let's see. So content that I'm going to be definitely coming out with this week, like I said, is going to be that CNC video. I still haven't gotten to recording the review just because things have been busy and hectic, and I've been everywhere, all over the place this week. I need to get down here and record it one day. Maybe sometime this week. Maybe. I want to try. But I definitely want to get the CNC video out. That needs to come out and be done. So hopefully I can get that. That review will be really nice to go along with using it to clean up these boards, because whenever I cut things on the CNC, I have to tab them, and you can see there's like a little hump there. So I'm going to use either my scroll saw or my jigsaw, try and flush that up a little bit more, and then I'm going to take it across the belt sander and sand that off. And I mean, you can see that one was kind of close, but sometimes I get kind of carefree whenever I'm trying to cut everything out quickly. And you can see like that there's a really big one there. Same thing on the other side. Whenever I'm at the shop, I just want to go home sometimes. So I also have to get my my router out, because I originally designed all of these pieces to be cut on an 8-foot by 4-foot sheet that I planned on taking. And whenever I moved them to the smaller sheets, I missed moving my rabbets for these 2 edges. So I have to get a router and do that one by hand. But that is what that is. You can do it. I bet just belt sand alone will do fast. Yeah, probably. I'm just worried about the bigger ones. They take a little bit of time. The little ones aren't bad. There's just some other ones I want to nip off some. No saw required, I bet. I've done it with no saw. The belt sander at the shop, I use the belt sander on the metal shop side, and they have the metal belts, and it goes. They're almost off instantaneously. They're real low grit, and it works perfect. Sorry, I thought I had a sneeze. CNC running. Check out Frank. Takes a lot of artistic creativity. Here's the thing, Dave. I don't really have a handsaw. I have a hacksaw. But I don't have like any like nice like fine cutting handsaw to cut those little nubs off. Unfortunately. Let me. Yeah, $20 Stanley. I forget if it's called a Chinese or Japanese handsaw. Nice, they're nice long blades, but they're good for fine cutting. I've heard theirs are kind of cheap, so I might look into one of those even. It'd be nice for trimming like that little stuff off. But yeah, that'd be ideal. Like I was saying, I want to go back to the topic. Hold on. Japanese, they are cool but different. Yeah. I want to look into getting one of those. Just for cutting off those little things. I've seen them; they work pretty quick for cutting stuff like that. Yeah, Japanese pull saw, teeth on both sides. Yeah, I think that might be what it's called. I'm not super familiar with them, but I've seen them used for stuff like that. I also make my tabs really thick because the CNC at the shop, they have a suction board. But if you're using like the front end of the CNC where we have squaring pins that pop up to square material down into the corner, if you use that front end, the suction board sucks, or well, it doesn't suck, I should say, at that end, and it will just move things, and it's such a pain to deal with. I hate it. Spin one is Jim's familiar, yes. Enough to be dangerous. Also use a router with a flush trim bit to cut the tabs. Yes, I could do that too. I probably have one in my bits that are beside me, but I can't get to because I'm not moving my chair. Just a little lazy tonight. What else? Oh, something I want to try for the next stream because I didn't have time to set it up before this stream. Is I went and bought. I found in the clearance bin a 75-foot Ethernet cable for $12. So I want to run that from upstairs from my router, run it up through the rafters, and drop down roughly here, and hook that up to the laptop. I want to see if that might help with any kind of delay. I used to have a signal booster up here somewhere, but I don't know what happened to it. It was from the actual cable company because of how our internet used to have to be run, as we have a cable box in the basement, and it had to be run from there to a router that they plugged in down here, and then we had to have a single signal booster upstairs. It was one of the stupidest things I saw, but it's what we had. I'm wondering if I could get less delay out of Wi-Fi if it had some kind of better Wi-Fi signal down here than having this direct connect. because that might be an issue, is that it can't transfer over the cord fast enough. I'm wondering. It also eliminate one fewer cord that I have to worry about tripping over. But yeah, after I get tires for my car out of my income tax, I'm gonna look into, like I said earlier, I'm gonna look into CNC, a little CNC, and maybe a small air compressor to kind of substitute the lack of the nice air compressor I have that's broken, and I have to fix. Maybe, I don't know if I want to put the time into it still. Yeah. Oh yes, and you mentioned using a router, and I need to do these because my coworker is like screaming at me, but I kind of don't want to do this one that I need to route the edges on, because in the spring I'm hopefully going to be setting up a little router table that my neighbor, well, he gave me the table saw. It's also a router table if you just change out the middle insert. Excuse me. So that'd be nice and easy to cut on the router table, but I can't do that. So I have to cut those by hand, which is less fun, but still doable. What time is it here? It's getting close to 7 o'clock. So, let me see, final thoughts. So this week, hopefully, I'm going to work on these. I'm going to at least get my coworker his. I don't know about his brother's, because his brother's is the one that needs the extra rabbits in it. But these are also all going to be a pain because I have to, like I said, I have to sand all those edges. And then I have a roll of glue on edge banding somewhere. I don't know where it went. It should be maybe on my shelf. I gotta find it. And I gotta glue on all the edge banding, trim all that up, clean all that up. And that's a mess and a pain in the ass. So I gotta do that. He keeps asking, he's like, so are you gonna have these stained tonight, or are you gonna have these stained tomorrow? Are you gonna have this all together? And I keep telling him, I'm like, when I have time to get to it, because it's hard to get that time. Nah, that's reclaiming free stuff. It's not a chore, it's a score. Are you talking about putting the edge banding on? Are you talking about fixing up my router table? The router table I can do, it's just the base is super rusted, and in the spring I want to... It's also currently outside and probably frozen to the ground. I want to clean it up. I got some wire brush attachments for my drill. I want to clean that up. I want to repaint that, and then I want to redo the router table. I want to kind of like refurbish it. I guess would be the table saw / router table. It's actually that's one of those things I added on my list after the live stream last night. Yeah, it's it just needs some TLC. The router and the router table insert are in great shape. It's the table saw insert that's in a little more rough shape, and the table saw itself, like the frame that holds the table saw and router table. It is going to also be making a bunch of jigs, like a straight cut jig that I can mount to it and kind of move to where I need to make my cuts. I had to make all that because he doesn't have any of the attachments for it. I guess, one, he got it secondhand, so he was missing a bunch of stuff when he got it. And two, he's had it for almost 20 years. Almost 20 years. And he's broken things and lost things to it, too. So I got it cheap. I got it. It's a table saw router table combo that I got for $100 with a bunch of other tools too. So it just needs some TLC and some creativity to make everything work right. But in the end, it'll work. And like I said, I'm waiting till spring to do that. Just because the frame's a little bit bigger, and I don't really have any good place to have it dry inside. So I kind of have to move some stuff around in the spring to take care of that. Like my signs, I can do signs in winter. I can go outside, spray those, bring them in to dry, and I can maybe set them upstairs. The fumes will be a little meh upstairs, but it's better. Like if I want to get it done in winter, I can. It's doable. It's not doable. Starting on jigs 2, got my first table saw, making a cross-cut jig. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of jig creation and looking up how to make jigs, because, bless you, my girlfriend is now sneezing. It must be contagious. But yeah, I got to look up some jigs, and I got to figure out how to make fixtures like what I'm talking about is like a backstop for the table or for the router table. That way I can also maybe have something set up to set my new shop back up for dust collection as well. It's going to be a lot of creativity. And a lot of little time. Time I'm willing to put into the table saw and router table, but not time that I'm short about on the air compressor. Because another thing I'm concerned about with the air compressor is I think, one, it's full of water, and two, with it being full of water, it's probably all rusted on the inside. So I'm iffy about putting time into it. Because that makes me worry that if it builds up too much pressure, it might go boom because the walls will be weakened from being rusted. So what else am I doing this week? So I'm going to do this. I don't know when I'm going to get to the painting of signs. I might do the paint. I might paint those signs because I have 2 cans of black spray paint. So I might paint those signs this weekend because it's supposed to get up to like 56 or 65 this weekend. So if it's going to be warm, I want to paint then, preferably, because it's nicer when it's warm. We'll go with that. And I had to kind of clear a little bit of a space because my end of my table is still a mess. I feel like I come down here and I clean this off every week, but this end doesn't. I just push stuff down to this end, and it's starting to pile up some again. I know something I want to look into buying too with my income tax is a new extension cord because I want to run the extension cord kind of how I have it going already, so I have power over here. But I need a longer one so I can run it to that power strip that I showed off last week, and you can kind of see down. Oops, you can see down at that end. Because now that I have this laptop down here, you can dream of temps in the 50s. Yeah, sorry, Jim. I'm in Pennsylvania. I don't know, Europe and Canada, I believe. So, but with having this laptop here, this little yellow box here, I broke it. Hold on. Okay. The little yellow box, I'm not going to move the wire again. That was silly of me because the wire is resting on it. There's only 4 outlets on it, and I have one that goes to my light. I have one that goes to my speakers, and I have one that goes to the laptop. So I now only have one outlet, essentially. And I'm not a fan of that. I kind of need some more outlets, and that's I think 16 outlets on that one, so I can run a little bit more to it. I just have to get a heavy duty extension cord for it. That's all. We're going to be above the freezing mark this week. Hey, above the freezing mark is an improvement. If it's been colder than below freezing, it's an improvement, and that's all you got to look forward to. I mean, it was 40 after we had that super, what they were calling the polar vortex. It was 40, and I was in my car with the windows down. So, you and me both. I run my shop on an extension cord to a 20 amp outlet. Here's the issue. I'm not even sure what breaker the outlet over on that side of the basement runs on. I've never worried about tripping it, and my power box isn't labeled great, but I don't have a lot of breakers, so I could just flick it off and see. I do know, however, that the breaker that powers this single light bulb right here, and there's a light bulb over there. I know that breaker is tied to the kitchen. So if you ever trip the breaker to the kitchen, you have to come down here in the dark with a flashlight to turn the breaker, flip the breaker again. It's a lot of fun. I used to trip that weekly because I had I couldn't run my computer, the deep fryer, and the microwave at the same time. It would trip the breaker. How we figured that combination out, I forget, but we tripped it multiple times because we did it all the time. I'd be deep frying something, and my girlfriend would be microwaving something, and my computer used to be hooked up to it, so that was always hooked up, and it would, all of a sudden, everything would turn off. And I'd go, what happened? And then I go, oh, now I have to walk down here in the dark. Map of Power someday. It's tedious, but it's informative, yes. If the box is right there, no problem running a few plugs. Jim, the problem is I rent, and in my lease, it's directly stated that the power is something I have to have done by a professional and have to have approved by the landlord. And I asked the landlord to have outlets installed, and I haven't heard back on it. They sent someone out for a quote. I told them, ideally, I need 2, but I would like 3 or 4. So I think he gave him a quote for 4 max. But I have no clue. I haven't heard back from it. Renting sucks. Yes, renting does suck. But I'm looking into possibly moving rent to own with the house because our landlord is pretty much a slumlord who doesn't take care of the property. I've been arguing with them for 3 years just to get to a leaky roof fixed. But I also don't want to cause problems with the landlord because they haven't raised our rent until this year. We've been at $725 for 3 years. This is the 4th year we were signing, and they bumped it up to $750, so they bumped it up $25. And that's fairly cheap for this area as well, for having a whole house with a small yard. It's really cheap. Nothing's included, but like I said, he doesn't fix anything. We asked our leasing agent if he would ask the landlord about if they'd be interested in rent to own, and they said yes. And then the leasing agent gave us the number of a guy to contact. He said, talk to this guy about seeing what you need to have done and what you need to get approved for. And he gave us the number for a mortgage company. And we don't need a mortgage for rent to own. We need to speak with a lawyer, yes. We need to speak with a We have to have someone come look at the house, make sure it gets appraised right, and make sure everything's good for us. But I know all the little problems with the house. I know there's spots in the house with no insulation. I know the windows in the dining room are cracked. They're these big, beautiful windows. They don't open. They're just double pane windows to let a lot of light in. But the pane on the inside is cracked, so they leak air. The landlord argued with us whenever we first moved in that no, they don't. He's not going to replace them until both panes are cracked. But that's besides the point. The roof leaks. There's possibly mold behind the drywall on that side of the basement because there's a broken window where they just cover the broken window with insulation and drywall instead of actually having the window fixed. And also it's leaking water over there. I don't know if it's coming in from like the bottom of the foundation because it's a little underground. I don't know where it's coming from. But I can imagine there's probably some kind of mold or something on the other side of that drywall. I know all the little problems with the house, but I'm willing to even own the house because I can probably get this for he got it for 15 in 2015, so I'd probably say about 20,000 because I don't see any real improvements and there's a lot of problems with the house. And that's what makes the house worth it to me. The fact that it's 20,000 and my money every month would go towards something, aka owning a house instead of renting it where the landlord doesn't fix it. And if I own it, I can also put all the power I want in here and not care. There is always a project or 12 to do. Oh yeah, no, there'd be loads of projects if I own this house. One of them is going to also be ripping up all the carpet, and there's spots where you can fill there, like up in the upstairs part, not the first floor, the second floor. There's spots where you can fill like there's a hole, like it's missing some flooring under it, and there's also spots where it's very uneven, like they just put new decking down, new wood decking just to cover it. Or I could put a piece of plywood just to cover an area where there's a hole and it's just like lumps. I mean, at least it's consistent in an area. Like it'll be like a whole run front, like in the hallway. Like there's this section that's probably about yay wide, which that's the width of our hallway is about as wide as you are. But for about that length, you can feel a hump. Like they just put a half sheet or a half-inch sheet of plywood there to cover something. It's silly. I strongly recommend a home inspection. Yeah, I want to get an inspection and appraisal before anything. I'm considering regardless of what they say, just because of, like I said, how cheap it is. If he's been neglecting the home, inspection knocks value off the property, helps your negotiation. Yeah, and I get that. But that's why he got it for $15,000, is because of things that are wrong with the house. I guess there used to be a bigger deck out back. Now the deck is just kind of like a stairway with a small deck out back. And they built that like in 2 days, but they didn't finish or seal it. And over the course of 3 years, you can feel real soft spots in the wood, like it's rotted in spots. So I know that needs replaced and done properly. 4 windows would probably run the electric to my shop. Well, decisions. The cost of 4 windows. Wife equal happy life. Yes. I'm sorry, what am I missing with 4 windows? Are we talking about the windows I was talking about in the dining room? Because it's only 2. They're like 13-foot windows. Or, well, it's 13 in total. They're like 6-foot windows. Oh, Jim's upkeep. Yeah. Yeah, and if I own this, I want to get all the windows in the basement specifically replaced. There's a window here. There's a broken window over by the doorway, and there's one behind the drywall over there. And I want to get them all replaced. This one I want them all to be able to be opened as well. This one, there's like a little hole in the ground for where the window's at because it's below the sidewalk. I want to have I want to build something to have like a little roofing over it that I'd probably make like an acrylic top for so it could still let light in, but I don't want rainwater to be filling up in the hole too much. So I can open that window and use it maybe as like an exhaust port. There's a lot of ideas I have for this house because this house, it has a lot of potential. It can be a very beautiful house. It's just a matter of putting the time in, putting the money in, and I'm willing to do that for this house because I do love this house. There's a lot of beautiful details to it. They make window wells with covers. I'm guessing you're ready for dinner and show. You're bored. You're ready for show.
Kind of whatever for dinner.
Okay. All right, the girlfriend is calling.
Sorry.
Yes, if you can send me pics on PM or on content creators, that'd be nice. But all right, guys, I guess I'm gonna get going. We're gonna go watch some TV shows that we need to catch up on, and I want to have something for dinner because I haven't eaten yet, and I'm hungry. Also, 15 minutes before the Bearded Woodworker is on, so go remember to check his live stream out. I don't know if I'll be over there or not tonight. Probably not because what show are we watching?
The Good Doctor.
I want to be watching The Good Doctor. That was on last night, so I hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you in the next stream and or video.